7 of the most hated people in rap. If there's one thing we know about modern social media age, it's that audiences can be fickle. What qualifies as the next big thing right now could be out of style in just a few months, if not weeks. As a result, it's not uncommon for rappers to get a bit of the limelight, only to fall out of the public's favor relatively quickly. However, it's a little bit harder to turn the entire rap industry against you. Though rap is competitive in nature, stars in the game typically try to stay on each other's good graces and act in a professional manner that allows them to continue working and making money. Despite this, there are a few rogues in the industry that are seemingly unconcerned with their reputation. A handful of rappers are seemingly hated by the entire industry. Whether it's because of unprofessional behavior, insults that they've lobbed at other rappers, or shady business practices. The rappers on this list have earned themselves a special reputation that causes other artists to be just a little bit weary about being around them. Before we get started, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Now, here are 7 of the most hated people in rap. Number 7, 50 Cent. 50 Cent lands at the number 7 spot on this list for a very important reason. Despite his ability to annoy basically everyone, it's hard to dismiss his contributions to rap music in the early 2000s. As the head of G-Unit, 50 was responsible for a ton of major radio hits, heavily influencing the sound of 21st century gangster rap, and bringing rap to a whole new level of mainstream exposure. The guy even had his own video game. But despite 50's long list of contributions to the genre, he has one talent that eclipses everything else: trolling. For the last decade, 50 Cent has positioned himself as one of the most active, vocal, and persistent trolls in the rap game. There are few people that 50 hasn't taken a shot at. Everyone from Common to Takashi 6ix9ine, and even Floyd Mayweather have felt the wrath of a 50 Cent Instagram post. And once you're in 50's sights, it's hard to get out. Self-admittedly petty, 50 Cent once bought 200 front row seats to Ja Rule's concert, just so the first 2 rows would be completely empty. It's hard to deny that most of 50's antics are pretty amusing, but his shenanigans have earned him a reputation within the rap industry as being somewhat childish and petulant. But considering the rapper has managed to stay relevant for over 20 years, all while maintaining a $30 million net worth, he must be doing something right. Number 6, Tory Lanez. When Tory Lanez was first breaking into the industry, he positioned himself as an eager, if not sometimes overzealous, artist. Initially best known for his one-sided feud with Drake, who refused to co-sign the Toronto singer, Tory began to develop a following in 2015 with the release of his album Say It. Not content to be known as just an R&B singer, Tory quickly proved that he was a talented rapper, and released a series of critically acclaimed mixtapes called Chicks Tape. However, just as Tory's audience began to widen, he proved that he was incapable of staying out of legal trouble and controversies, including inciting a riot at a 2016 performance. However, the moment where the rap industry turned on Lanez came in July of 2020. After a drunken argument at a party in Hollywood Hills, Lanez shot fellow rapper Megan Thee Stallion in the heel of her foot. Despite being initially wary to reveal the identity of her shooter, Megan later revealed it was indeed Tory who had assaulted her, and criticized his public relations team for an attempted smear campaign against her. On his follow-up album Daystar, Lanez denied allegations, a move that caused significant backlash from the rap industry. Lanez was officially charged with a series of felonies that could land him up to 22 years in prison, and is currently under order to not discuss the case until his sentencing. In this time, his monthly plays have dropped from 30 million to around 9 million, and he's been removed from a variety of guest features and music video appearances. Number 5, Pusha T. Pusha T is a unique addition to this list because of how polarizing he is. There is undoubtedly a big portion of the rap industry who respect and like Pusha T, including some heavyweights like Kanye West. However, those who hate Pusha really hate him. Most famously, Pusha T's 2018 beef with Drake split his fan base. Drake and Pusha have always had a rocky history, dating back to a long-standing feud between Good Music and Cash Money Records. However, things heated up in 2018 when Pusha set his sights on Drake in his song Infrared. The two traded shots back and forth until Pusha revealed Drake had fathered a son and kept it unannounced from the world. The diss polarized the industry. Some felt that there were no limits in a rap beef, and others thought that Pusha had crossed the line by including such personal information in a song. Ultimately, despite the battle and Pusha's top-notch performance, Drake prevailed due to his status as a much higher caliber artist. As a result, Pusha found himself the target of disdain by basically any artist that supported Drake. and that's a whole lot of them. Pusha has repeatedly voiced his frustration that he does not receive as much respect as he believes he should, and has hinted at various opportunities lost due to his beef with Drake. What do you think? Did Pusha go too far? Number 4, Birdman. Birdman hasn't been a rapper for many years, and has retained his relevance in the industry as the founder and head of Cash Money Records, the once prestigious label that was home to Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki Minaj. Despite running one of the most successful and well-liked labels in the early 2010s, Birdman found himself almost universally despised for his shady business practices and cutthroat politics. Birdman has been making enemies in the industry for years, once igniting a lifelong feud with Good Music when Cash Money allegedly shorted the Neptunes payments for a collaborative track. But Birdman isn't interested in exploiting just his enemies. Perhaps his most famous misdeed is locking Lil Wayne into a binding, controlling contract that greatly limited the rapper's control over his own music and release schedule. The contractual problems led to the famous delay of the Carter 5 for many years. Sources indicated that Birdman and Jay Prince created a complicated set of layered contracts for Drake, which ultimately led to the rapper releasing If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, to escape his deal and settle with Republic Records. You know the old adage about keeping your enemies close? It looks like everyone is an enemy to Birdman. Number 3, Russ. Russ is one of the few rappers on this list that earned his spot simply by being constantly obnoxious. One of the leading faces of the DIY scene, Russ is an independent rapper with an impressively large following, and he'll never let you forget it. Since Russ broke into the mainstream popularity in 2015 with his song What They Want, and continued to output a prolific amount of music in an attempt to boost his visibility. Since then, each Russ album has released and debuted within the top 5 of the Hot 100. And while many people would like to see Russ's success as an endorsement of hard work and perseverance, his public persona often prevents that. The rapper first came under fire for wearing a t-shirt that said, "How many Xans and lean do you have to do before you realize you're a fucking loser?" Many rappers criticize this as an oversimplified take on America's problem with drug addiction. Instead of evaluating his views, Russ seemed to double down on these types of stances. Since then, he's made claims that he is the best rapper to have ever made music, and the most influential independent act of all time. He has instigated several physical fights, including those against Smokeperp, Adam22, and Guapdad 4000. Russ has drawn criticism for his arrogance, but also for cultural appropriation, due to his Sicilian heritage. Russ is so disliked within the industry that his name is associated with the simple, clear meme, F Russ. Enough said. Number 2, Takashi 6ix9ine. Takashi 6ix9ine might have been the biggest, hardest fall from grace out of any artist on this list. Takashi rose to seemingly overnight superstardom with the release of his 2017 song, Gummo. Over the course of the next year, the rapper quickly became one of the most successful and controversial acts in hip-hop. His unique brand of aggressive music, coupled with his intense social media presence, positioned Takashi as the new supervillain of rap. However, things took a turn when the rapper began to associate himself with the 9 Trey Bloods in New York. Takashi had begun financially supporting the gang in exchange for credibility and protection. After discovering that the gang was stealing funds through his manager, Takashi attempted to fire his team, resulting in a plot for his execution. At this point, the FBI intervened and offered Takashi protection in exchange for a testimony against members of the gang, which he accepted. The news of Takashi's flip garnered much criticism from the rap industry. It had been clear that Takashi's gangster image had been manufactured, and his sudden flip also painted him as a rat. Snitching has a long history of being one of the worst sins a gangster can commit, effectively ruining Takashi's career. The rapper served 18 months in prison before being released, but has been unable to replicate his pre-prison success. Number 1, Suge Knight. Perhaps one of the most hated and feared figures in all of rap is Suge Knight, the head of Death Row Records. Suge spent much of the early 90s positioning himself as one of the most violent and threatening presences in rap music. Suge has been involved in several murders and is alleged to have physically tortured competing label executives in order to secure features, signees, and contracts. But perhaps his most notable misdeed is his alleged connection to the murder of both Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls. In 1996, Tupac Shakur was preparing to part ways with his current record label, Death Row Records. Theories assert that Knight had Tupac killed in order to prevent his departure from the label, and then conspired conspired to kill Biggie in order to take attention away from the Tupac murder case. An alternate theory asserts that Tupac was murdered by associates of Biggie Smalls, and that Biggie's murder was arranged by Knight as a revenge killing. Regardless of his possible involvement, there are many other documented cases of Knight employing violent tactics, including a 2015 incident in which Knight killed a man with his car. Suge is currently serving 28 years in a California state prison because of his involvement in the death. So did anyone on this list surprise you? Or did we happen to forget someone? Let me know in the comments. And before you leave, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to our channel.